Hello there, everybody, and welcome to, well, I don't know what I'm going to call this yet. But I want to be clear that this video series, now maybe I'll call it Management Minutes. That occurred to me a moment ago. Whatever we're going to call it, this is just going to be a more personal take on management. This is not going to replace your core text or your course material. Think of this as bonus material, I suppose. But hopefully, fingers crossed, this is going to have information that I hope you're going to find useful and kind of augment what we're talking about in the text. None of what I'm going to say in these videos is testable material unless it's already in your text. So keep that in mind as you watch and go through this video. Make some notes. I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking maybe I'll throw this on YouTube and then you can go to it anytime you like. So in this particular video, we're going to talk briefly about what management is and what your role is as a manager. Now, being a manager is a tough role, and you have to be versatile to make it work. You can call it versatile, whichever way you want to pronounce it. To be clear, I view management as separate and apart from leadership. At the same time I say that, one person can have attributes of both of those, and that can be a very great combination and lead to great success. Today I'm going to focus on 4 main points that you need to know as a manager, and this I believe does echo what is in your text. And you're going to find the different, as you read more books on management, you're going to find some are going to say 5 or 10 or 20. I'm going to focus on 4 for the moment. Planning, organizing, leading, and controlling. Now, I know I just said leadership is separate, but there's an aspect of leadership that has to come with the title of manager. Okay, management's biggest role is to help minimize resources while maximizing production in an organization. As a manager, you can have the single greatest effect on the company's bottom line. Your job is to take whatever resources you have, that might be man hours, personnel, equipment, money, the sky's the limit. But you take those and you use those to achieve the objectives, whatever they are. Now, you can be trained to be an effective manager, but first, and this is a very important thing that I have seen, you have to want to be a manager. Then you need to learn to manage the resources that you have effectively. I've seen people that didn't want to be a manager at all, and that really came through. I'm going to let you imagine how that went down. I've seen people who didn't know how to be a manager. They weren't trained to be a manager, but they had the desire to be a manager. They probably had more success. Now, the first thing I mentioned among the 4 points was planning. This is where you set out exactly what you need to do to reach your goal. This may sound very easy, but without a plan, you can get lost quite quickly. There is one reason that I asked you about your goals back at the outset of the class. See, there's a methodology in my madness. Now, what I'm going to mention here is just as appropriate for you as an individual as it is for a multi-million-dollar company. Planning or goal setting is the very first step of managing anything. Now, even there, I think there are 6 basic steps to setting your target. Now, pause it if you need to when I go through these. I'm not going to leave a lot of space here, just to keep it condensed. Develop your objectives. Develop the tasks that you need to complete those objectives. Determine what resources you need. Create a timeline. Determine how you're going to track your progress. And finalize your plan. Then distribute your plan to everybody that's involved, so that everyone knows what is going on and what is expected of them. The next key point I'd like to talk about is organizing. Organizing comes after planning. This is where you conduct coordination and communication between any people or teams that are involved in the project. Make sure that you have a common purpose. Coordinate your objectives, divide out the labor, and have an established hierarchy of reporting on all of those tasks. Here we get to leading. Now, there are thousands and thousands of ways to lead. Read books on leadership. Study it a little bit. Leading is a completely different skill set to management, in my opinion and in my experience. I plan to go over some of the more well-known, established ways of leading in another video. A few key points to consider while leading. Keep your lines of communication open. Keep positive attitudes. Set your goals and expectations. Give your team feedback. And always be open to new ideas. Your listening skills will be very important, as you need to listen to your team and to your customers or stakeholders or shareholders, whatever the case may be. An extremely important aspect of leading is understanding motivations and why people do what they do. You've probably heard me say this before, but I simply cannot emphasize it enough. Simply put, know your people. Lead by example and the strength of your own character. Whatever you do is exactly what you are going to see your team doing. They will look to you. They will model their behavior on what you do. If you treat customers poorly, guess what they're going to do? Our last aspect of management is controlling. In our controlling, this is really analyzing how you're doing against where you are projected to be. Remember that plan we talked about? Sometimes this means reallocating your resources to catch back up. This is just a process of continuous analysis and improvement. Like I said at the outset of the video, management is much more complex than just wearing a title. Make sure that you are constantly communicating with your people and getting the feedback from them. Management overall is all about adding value to any project. Now, I use the term project in wide scope here. Could be running your store for your annual goals, your weekly goals, whatever. Look at everything like it's a project. But add value to that project and properly use your resources. There you have it. That's it in as concise a time as I can make it. As always, thank you for your time, and I look forward to any feedback that anybody might have. All right, have a great day.